So too, I'm so happy that these YouTube videos worked out and that people actually watch them. But I can't tell you how stupid I feel talking to a phone. But I guess this is the 2000s and I have to adjust to that. So I wanted to review, not from yesterday's lesson, but last week's. We went over a lot of vocabulary words. We went over a lot of content. So I want to take this session to review some of that vocabulary. I know some of you are probably viewing these for the first time and you're probably saying, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. But don't worry, because some of this stuff is going to keep coming up and we're going to have rotating sessions at the house. So you may not see everyone all the time, and that's why I came with the idea of these YouTube videos. You can watch them at your leisure or you can practice. And I'm also going to start giving you ideas of how to practice things by yourself or with the residents of the house or with another staff member so you can hone your skills. So please don't feel that you're behind the eight ball if you haven't seen, if you haven't been to all the classes or you're just coming on board. So 2 weeks ago, we talked about a lot of vocabulary words and we also talked about learning them as alphabetical instead of in groups. So that day we did both. We talked about some words that are house specific, personal hygiene vocabulary, kitchen vocabulary, and then we talked about hand shapes. And I'm not necessarily going to teach the alphabet right now. I don't want people to get dependent on using the alphabet, but we're going to refer to the alphabet as different vocabulary words in the hand shapes. So let's review some of the personal hygiene and house specific words that we talked about before. Freezer, freezer, refrigerator, kitchen. Now, we also talked about the room sign, and that incorporates the B handshape. The B handshape represents flat objects. Okay? So if you were going to talk about the different rooms of the house, you would draw that room with the B handshape. And you would make a rectangle with the B representing the walls of the room. So this would be bedroom, living room, bathroom, kitchen. Now, kitchen can be the cooking room. Cook, again, that B flat for flipping a burger or flipping something on a grill. Or you can make it with the K hand shape. Kitchen. That's a very English way to do it. And some of the residents in the house may know that vocabulary word. So that would be kitchen. Bedroom, kitchen, living room. Toothbrush, shower. And we're going to talk about also, I'm going to add a little bit to this about noun verb pairs. Shower, refrigerator, sink, water running, or sink. Now this is the C hand shape, and a C hand shape can represent a lot of things. But one of the things the C hand shape can represent is a clump or a lump or a knob. So if you notice, this would be the sign for sink. The water is running. Water, you turn on the water and the water is running. Let's go back to the B classifier, B hand shape. There's also things in the house that are in the B hand shape, like a window. But the window could be in different positions. This is a sash, a typical sash window that I believe you have in your house. There's also this kind of window that would crank, the old-fashioned windows that crank. There's also the sign for door. Now notice I did a little differently with the window and the door. The door would swing open. The movement of the sign can make it a different word. Just like open the window, shut the window, open, shut, open, shut. The B classifier can also mean a wall, okay, or even like sliding doors, or if two doors open out like French doors. So there's a lot of words that are associated with just with this just hand shape of the B. And those are all household items. Another sign that can be used with the B is indicating your feet. Walking is another sign that uses the B classifier, and it represents your feet as you're strolling along. This is also another sign for walk. You can use either sign. There's no rule for them. This one tends to be a little easier than this. But we're going to talk about this hand shape and all the words associated with it in another time. So noun verb pairs. A noun verb pair is the same word, but it has a different movement. And as I just showed you with window and door, a noun, if you're using the word as a noun, it's going to have two short movements. Window, door, walk. If it has one long movement, that's the verb. Open the window, go, close the window, go, close the door. One long movement. Walking. I am walking to the beach. Walk. One long movement. Another one is, I always use this as my quintessential sign to help remember noun verb pairs. Airplane is two short movements. Fly is one long movement. So if you remember that the verb of the noun verb pair is moving more, that will help you remember the noun verb pairs. Love, love as the noun. Love is patient, as opposed to I love ice cream. Love and noun, too short, is the noun for love. Now, let's go back to the B. Let's go back to the hand shapes. We talked about a bunch of hand shapes that day. Another one is the G hand shape. G hand shape would represent the thickness of things. Okay? So if somebody had a haircut that was very short, you would use that G classifier in a very small to show that it's very thin. Or a thin beard, or thin eyebrows, or thin glasses. Whereas as it got thicker, you would gradually go from a very small G, 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 and then as it got thicker, it would graduate into C. Do you see that? It starts out very thin, and it gets thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker, and then all your other hands, that goes into a C. Now yesterday when we were playing the game, one of the pictures that we had was the Leaning Tower of Pisa. The Leaning Tower of Pisa is not skinny. The Leaning Tower of Pisa is fat. So we use the C, the thick C, to represent the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Something that you would use the G classifier for could maybe be the grass is very short, or stripes on your shirt that are very thin. G represents the thickness of objects. The C represents the thickness of objects also. Now the B hand shape, we also did a bunch of vocabulary words that start with B. And two of them are color words. Blue. Blue, you shake, use the B hand shape and you shake it. Black, you would draw the B. Some people use the B across their head. Some people use the finger across their head. Black. Boots. This is the sign for shoe. And this is the sign for boots because it's initialized with the B. That's another not theory. That's another category of words in sign language are initialized sounds, initialized words. K, kitchen was another one. You're using the K letter and you're making the sign with the K letter. The sign B for boots.
Go.
Resume. Sorry, we had a little cat interruption with the meowing. He needed a little love. So B, we have boots. We have blue. We have black. We have banana, which is a word that you would use in the house, I'm sure, for fruit. We have Boston, Baltimore, bad, baby, boy, brother. A boy from the same family is brother. I'm adding some words. We had a list. We had a list when we did it together as a class, but I'm also adding some words for you. So those are words that start on B. Let's talk about words that start on G. I'm listening to the phone, and the other phone's ringing, so it's distracting me. So we have green. G, you make it like a little box. Green, grow, grass, garden. Now this sign is this. You will use your hand to indicate an area. Okay. So for example, if you were having them clean the living room, you would say clean over there in that area in the living room. And the G, sometimes you can initialize that area. Oh, there's tons of initialized signs. Garden. There's the sign for park. There's the sign for lake. Sometimes they can be very specific if you go to a specific place. Darien Lake. That's another initialized sign that people use for the fair, Darien Lake. Or the Hamburg Fair is over there. So this open-handed sign, which we didn't talk about in class, but it just came to my mind, indicates an area that's not near you. And then you would indicate that area and you would spell or sign where you're going. I think that's all I can think of for now. I'm going to do another one tomorrow, and we're going to add a little bit more about the pronouns, and we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the words we did in class in the game on Wednesday. We're going to review some of that vocabulary, and we're also going to review the color words. So for your homework, what you can start doing now is, now that you know WH words, now that you know question words, now that you know how to formulate yes, no, I think it's going to be really important, and we're going to start practicing putting all of that together. So for homework or for practice, here are some things that you could do on your own. Practice signing where words. Where are your shoes? Where is your toothbrush? Where is the refrigerator? Where is the boots? Where is another housemate? Practice signing those words. Also practice signing some some yes/no words. Do you want to eat? Do you have to go to the bathroom? Do you want to drink? Do you want to go to bed? So right there are 9 sentences that you can practice on your own. And the most important, I notice, when I'm at the house, you're not carrying over the facial expression. Your signing is great, but your facial expression is not matching with what you have to say. So please think about that when you're practicing, and we will add more to this channel tomorrow, and try to stay cool. Sayonara.